Welcome to 111 Minna Gallery Studios. We are here with a fabulous artist, Mia Padua, and she has come to join us for Tharts, Thoughts About Art. She is the owner of Petals in the Sky, and I'll let Mia tell us a little bit about what she does.
Hi, my name is Mia, and I'm the owner and designer of Petals in the Sky. And we are a textile designer who makes headdresses and goddess crowns for numerous occasions.
Yeah, Mia is a full-time mother, full-time business lady, full-time awesome person, and a full-time amazing artist. So it's so great to be able to have her here on our platform and to be able to experience what she does. So, Mia, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get started with this medium?
So I've always created ever since I was a kid, just with my hands when it was painting, making my own clothes. I always just felt like I needed to create. Creating for me is like breathing. If I'm not creating, I don't feel like I'm alive. And I went through a lot of things in my life when I stopped creating for a long time. And one day I was just walking down the street with my husband and I said, I have to do this. I don't know exactly what it is and I don't even know if I can do it, but I need to do this. And so we created a small space up in our little makeshift attic, kind of. We called it the hovel.
Nice.
And I started creating out of there. And I started with very simple pieces, and then it's just evolved over time. The first pieces kind of caught on, and my husband was like, I made one as a gift. And she loved it. And my husband said, you need to sell these. Like, these need to get out there for more people. And it started to just pick up. In 4 years now, I've been doing it successfully. So
that is amazing. And you're based here in San Francisco?
I am. Yeah, I'm located in San Francisco.
That's great. So it was a San Francisco street that inspired this artist.
Yes,
which is fun. So in a little bit we'll go over her sourcing and an idea about materials. But for now, let's check out a few of the pieces. Let's start with a few that you brought here to share with us, which is great. So we have this beautiful blue headdress. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so this is actually one of my most recent pieces, and I work a lot like a fashion designer in that I do collections, and so you'll see a similarity, like I'll do 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, how many pieces I feel will fit into that collection. And this piece is actually inspired by the god Shiva. So you can see the prongs on the outside and the circles. And I just felt right now, everything is kind of full circle with all of us right now, right? We're like reassessing life and we're thinking about how do we fit in this big thing. And I have this big Shiva statue in my living room, and it just kind of funneled through that. And the pieces kind of channel themselves to me. I don't know what they're going to look like initially. And I just feel like an energy, and they talk to me and they come to life. And this is what she wanted to be, so.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And the second one we have, so I hear that this is a very special piece
Yeah.
that Mia will not let go of, and let's hear why.
So this is actually one of my favorite pieces. I do have a few pieces that are part of my personal collection, and I've loaned them out to a couple of close friends from time to time, but it's like, loaning out your child, right? You're just like, be careful. But it kind of speaks to, a lot of my pieces were born out of Burning Man. That was my original audience, for obvious reasons. This one has been to the playa twice now, so she's survived many dust storms and late night and early morning adventures. Wow. But it's always amazing to me how well they hold up too. But this piece is really special to me. I do have a saying, it's kind of like having a child, right? It's a beautiful experience, but I don't know if I want to do it again. That's how I feel at the end of some of these. Like, it is stressful sometimes too, because you're engineering as you're creating it, but the joy that you get out of it and the joy that I see when people wear them and how they react to them it's what's kept me doing it. It's just the emotional connection that people have to their pieces and how they feel when they put them on is a big deal. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. Can you just remind people right now where they can go to see these pieces and check out a little more detail?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram, which is my primary space, but I do also have a website. My Instagram is Petals in the Sky SF. It's petals like a flower petal. And then my website is petalsinthesky.com. And that's sailed the same, petalsinthesky.com. So that's the easiest way to find me, yeah.
Perfect. We'll go back and remind everyone, the audience, again about that later. Now we're going to look at some pieces that Mia has shared with us. It is a peek into her playa community which we all know is Burning Man, which people were not able to go to this year, but it's really neat for us to be able to share these moments with her. So Mia, what do we have here? Some guys hanging out having fun with some awesome hats.
And nice chest. No, just kidding. So what I wanted to do was just kind of share the evolution of the pieces. And so I actually didn't start with the headdresses or the crowns. I started with top hats. And so a lot of my earlier pieces are these very elaborate top hats. And that's what you see in the gentleman wearing. And so they're encrusted with, feathers and flowers and, antique picture frames. And just for everybody out there who's cringing when I said feathers, because we know what moop is, right? I definitely take every effort, and I've never had one piece fall off of my pieces on the playa. So I'm proud of that, yeah. They've survived many a round. Some of them have been there multiple times, so. Yep. Yeah, so here's another piece that I did with the ears. So I have a couple of friends who are well-known DJs in the city, and they're known for their ears. One wears rabbit ears, and this one is the fox ears. I have a love-hate with this piece because I was literally coughing up hairballs after a while. If anybody's worked with the faux fur, it's quite an adventure. The ears do light up too, by the way. So I also always say, too much said no burner ever. So,
right.
So they're like angled from every angle. There's detail. I try to cover all surfaces with something. It has a story to tell, right? So.
Yeah, it's got these beautiful rhinestones and these black roses, and just again, love that in fashion that you can use the faux fur, and it looks great,
right?
Yep. You can really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, next look at this amazing picture. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this one's kind of different because she's not wearing a headdress or a top hat. And one of the things I did for a while is I actually did make a few clothing items, and one of the pieces that I do make, it's a fringe dress, and it's a lace collar, and it's fringed to the floor. And I called it On the Fringe, right? So you can't, I love movement, and this picture just exemplifies how we feel, when we feel beautiful and confident and we're having a great time, which is what I want my brand and my message to be, yeah.
What a beautiful moment. Just, I think all of us at this moment would like to be her
right.
there doing
so
that.
So much.
All right, and these ladies are having a great time,
yeah.
And they have some awesome pieces on their head.
Yeah, the hat is not mine. I never ventured into the captain hat arena, only because it was such a saturated thing too, and I felt like there were so many people that already did it so well.
Right.
And I wanted to just kind of make my own mark. But what's interesting is that piece, the floral piece, is one of my very first pieces, and you can see kind of the evolution of how simple my first pieces were. It really was just flowers. It was just flowers, more like a flower crown, something very simple.
Right, with long ribbons and a little beading coming down the front. But still, seeing your start with the monochromatic look.
Yes,
you definitely are having every shade of purple.
Yep.
It's happening
exactly.
there. Lavender, violet.
All the purples.
Yes, all the purples.
Purple is actually a color that you will see run through my pieces a lot. It's kind of my trademark. I love purple. It's a powerful color. So
strength.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have this
piece.
Is just a big, bold piece. Excited to hear about this one.
Yeah, I love this piece, and this person who's wearing it is actually a really special dear friend of mine. She's a cancer survivor, and she has an amazing story to tell. And she came to me. She actually has 4 of my pieces now.
Wow.
And so she came to me, and she purchased a piece, and she would put them up as art in her house. And she bought this piece. It was going to be her first time going back to the playa after a while. And it wasn't lit. And so she came to me and she said, well, can you add lights to it? It's always harder to go back in and change a piece after it's been completed than to engineer it that way from the beginning. So I was kind of against it. But then when I put the lights, it just was amazing. And then I didn't want to give it back to her.
I don't know what happened to it.
Are you sure you want this?
Nothing to see here.
It broke. No, I don't know. But to see her out there like that, and she was one of the people that she was like, I felt like a celebrity out there. Like people wanted to take pictures with me, and I felt so beautiful. And that's what I want to do, is I want to empower not just women, anybody who wants to celebrate that confidence that you have inside, and show how we feel inside on our outside. And this is kind of my way of helping to do that. So,
Wow,
yeah.
what a great story.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful piece.
I love that piece. So this is
here.
yours truly. Yes.
You and your husband.
I had to be
looking
in some of the
terrific for what I hear is
photos.
Breakfast of Champions.
Yep.
I think everyone's missing that a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Tell us about your early morning here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the nice thing is I get to wear the pieces too before they go out. And this was actually one of my first big pieces. Originally, I used to start making them out of, they were samba frames. And if anybody knows what a samba frame is, like from Mardi Gras, it's made out of steel. They're quite heavy, actually. Now my pieces are made out of hand molded foam, and believe it or not, they weigh less than 2 pounds each.
Wow.
Like as big as they are, they weigh you could move around and be comfortable. And that's what I learned from, wearing that. I was like, okay, I have a neck ache. I look great, don't show it, And the dapper gentleman next to me is my husband and my biggest fan, but also my biggest headache, because he knows what I'm capable of, and every time I make a piece, he is constantly like, you can do more, because I kind of get to a point creatively where I'm like, oh, I just want to walk away from it, like it's, I'm tired, and he'll say, no, you can do more, and it will wind up being my best piece yet. So he's always pushing me to try and keep doing more, which is great to have that.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's another top hat that you created?
It is, yeah. It's one of my favorite ones, actually. Of course, he has it, but it was a special present to him. I surprised him before Burning Man one year, and the earring that's in the center is actually an earring that I was wearing my first burn with him, like broke off, and all I had left was one. So I put it in there and I lit it, and it's all, every piece has a story to tell, and I use pieces of jewelry that were mine or that someone gave me, and it got to be where friends would come and show up and bring me, like, here, I have this bag of jewelry, like, do something with it, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So these pieces all get to tell a story and travel around, which is fun.
That's so great.
Yeah.
That's so special.
Yeah.
And why we talk about that? A little segue into the pieces traveling before we go on. I want to hear a little bit about the story of when the pieces leave you and where they go and where they get to travel to.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I've had a lot of pieces like travel all over the place. Places that I don't know if I'll get to go or not. Well, especially now, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like a part of me gets to travel all over the world because they've gone international. Pieces have gone to Thailand, pieces have gone to Switzerland, different parts of Europe. There's a woman who she wears it in Chicago. She's an MC for an opera performance that gets done. So I get to hear these stories. I always tell people, I'm like, tell me your stories about, what, where it's going, what are you doing? And it wasn't, initially it was Burning Man, but then they started going for these weddings and, different birthday parties and celebrations and performances. There's a performance art company in LA that has like 3 pieces of mine, and they do these very eyes wide shut parties, and these beautiful women wear these headpieces, and so it's just neat to hear all the different stories, and the adventures that my pieces of me get to go have out there.
That's super exciting. That is super exciting. Thank you for sharing that. That was
Mm-hmm.
great. Okay, this is a really beautiful piece.
Yeah, this is actually...
And a great photograph,
it's
too.
It's a close-up of the piece that I was wearing in the previous photo. And this woman approached me. Her name is Tiana Hunter, and she's actually a local photographer here in the Bay. And she said, I'm doing this special project, and would you mind, loaning a few pieces for this? And she sent me this back, and I almost fell out the floor and started crying. Like, when someone takes your art and they're able to bring it to life like that and portray how I see the piece, right? Sometimes I'll admit I get photos back and I'm like, oh okay. I mean, wow. But you get something like this back and you're just, I was honored, and it still remains one of my favorite photos that was ever taken of one of my pieces.
It is just beautiful. And describe the piece a little bit. I see.
Yeah.
Is that metal or glitter?
It is. It's they're these glitter pieces that are sandwiched. They're actually, believe it or not, they're Christmas ornaments that are.
Wow.
They're just like
That's
these,
awesome.
You look at things and you find things, because my main thing is it has to be light, and they're just these like little. They go in like a floral arrangement. And they're just these little flat glitter pieces, and I put them on the sticks, and wired them up and sandwich them on either side. And then there's a piece of vintage lace that was gifted to me by a friend that's in the back. And then the rhinestone pieces from, you know, antique jewelry piece that I had. And so you just kind of start piecing these pieces together. One of the things I will say about my pieces that people might notice as they look at it, my goal is all the pieces are inspired by different cultures, different religions, they're fused together. And the goal is to show that it can all coexist beautifully. It's hard not to get emotional when I talk about that. Yeah. But that's what I want to show, that it's a bigger message, you know. It might just seem like a piece of art, but that's the energy and the thought that goes into those pieces. So
no, that is beautiful. And
so
luckily it's on people's heads and their brains, so it communicates that to them.
Well, and especially as a woman, when you put a piece on like that, you grow. Mm-hmm. Like you're 4 or 5 feet taller suddenly. Yeah. And that comes as a responsibility sometimes.
Right.
Too, right.
Right.
You know, don't knock things over.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've had people buy pieces and say, I'm not ready to wear it yet. I have to wait till I'm ready to wear that piece, you know. Yeah. So, and other people, you know, I mean, I watched my very first piece, I watched a woman older woman came to my booth when I was vending, and she said, can I try it on? She tried it on, and I swear she grew like 10 feet, and she just glowed, and she said, can I walk around in it? Like, of course you can.
Oh, right.
And that's the first time, I get chills talking about it, that's the first time I realized the gift that I can give to other people, you know. So
what a great gift. It's truly magical. This one looks like it is amazing, but also tell us about how your dresses and your headdresses kind of came together here.
Yeah,
right?
It does actually. So that this is, and you're spot on, this is the evolution of the fringe piece, and then I started integrating the fringe into the pieces. This piece is a bit unique because this is the first time that I actually hand carved the piece from scratch.
Wow.
So what you're seeing is a piece that is like all carved out of foam and then inlaid with other little strips of foam and beadwork, and it's all handmade. It's not comprised of other material. It's made, each piece is made by hand. So, and it's really light too. And I had the privilege of working with a photographer here in the Bay, and this is I'm lucky, I'm friends with the, you know, people from Go-Go Pro and the Go-Go dancing community. Yeah. So I have these beautiful women who are like, I'll model, you know.
Yeah, so. Thank you.
Yes, I will put this beautiful piece on this beautiful woman.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
but I love that piece.
It's so intricate and so beautiful, and the blue and the gold and the brass together.
It's very inspired by, if you look at it, it's very Thai, but also got a very Catholic kind of feel to it in a way too, like the old church doors and the carved wood. So again, just blending together the different cultures.
If only priests would wear these on their heads, things would be a lot better. I really like that. Yeah. Yes, it is amazing. Oh, wow. This is really neat. And this also is kind of reminiscent of maybe
similar.
The one that we have here that you brought to share with us.
Yeah.
So let's go over this one and then go to the one that you brought to share.
So it's a funny story. I had been doing all these big giant pieces, and then there was a pivot where I wanted to actually make a traditional crown. And for a while, that's all. I stopped making the bigger pieces, took a break from them, and then just started working on making these crowns. And it was really fun because I could really, truly utilize all the old jewelry. And these pieces are actually inspired from each other. So they're made of laser cut wood. So it's layered laser cut wood pieces and then beads and jewelry over it. So again, very light. Like they look heavy. That's the thing I always get from people. With this piece probably doesn't even weigh a pound, the one that's sitting here right now. So this is one of them. And you can see the jewelry draped on the base and all the I hand do all the beading and everything too. So it's very therapeutic. Yeah.
So gorgeous. Yeah. And then this piece right here, this one is this one going somewhere
Yeah,
soon?
So this one is actually going to be going to Switzerland by way of Germany. And it's a long story, but it is also, I call this, it's like a sea goddess in a way if you look at it. You know, it started out looking very Art Deco, but then it kind of, it's fanned out pieces of laser cut wood, layered with metal filigree, and then just different pearls and jewels on it, and some little antique jewelry on it too. So
yeah, and amazing dimensions.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard of third dimension, fourth dimension. This is like 10th dimension over here. This is
I
really
work in
cool.
layers,
Yeah, really
Yeah.
neat.
All the pieces are layers, even the bigger pieces, they start, you might think it's done when you see it. Someone who doesn't, they would think it's done. I still have 3, 4, 5 layers to go, Again, too much said no goddess ever. So, yeah.
That is amazing. I love it. Oh, and here is you looking so hot.
This is my favorite photo of me, by the
Wow.
way.
The whole thing is happening.
I
You
love
gotta tell
it.
us about everything on this
I was
one.
in a happy moment. So Halloween is my birthday, which should not be a surprise. I clearly have a passion around costuming. And selfishly, I would love to throw a Halloween party every year and pick the theme. And the theme would be, I want to wear this costume, and everyone has to do my bidding, basically. So, but it's a nice chance to just really get to dress up and play around the piece. And this is one of my other pieces that I made. And I did a series of these too. And they are inspired kind of like the Archbishop's headpiece in a way, if you look at the shape, So, and I'm all about silhouette. What is that? What's the shadow and the silhouette that they can create? So this was Halloween, and I think it was a steampunk circus was the theme, and we had a fun time, clearly.
So cool.
Yeah, I love to dress
It's just amazing. The super contrast, white, black, red. It's awe-striking.
This is an extra special story.
Yeah. I'd love to hear this one. She looks amazing.
Yeah, so she got married, and this was the piece she wore. And a friend of hers came to my booth when I was vending and said, "Oh, I'm going to connect you with someone." We had never met, and so she said she was going to connect me with her because we're getting married. And she wanted to buy the piece, but she was like, "Oh, I spent so much money on wedding stuff, So then shortly after, her fiance texted me randomly and said, "I want to surprise her. I want to come get the piece." And so he showed up at my house, and I can't explain, but it was the right thing to do. It was my 10-year wedding anniversary of getting married on the playa. So I decided to gift him the piece.
Oh, wow.
Because it just felt like I was celebrating my wedding, and here these people were getting married.
On the playa.
Yeah, on the playa.
Wow.
So fast forward to being on the playa, I said, "Oh, I think they're getting married today. Let's go see." And we see this woman in her headpiece with this beautiful gown, and they had just gotten married. And so I go over to her, and I'm like waving, like, ah. And I remember she's never seen me. She's probably like, "Who's this crazy person, like, yelling at me?" And all I could do was get close enough to go, "I'm Mia, I made that." And she was like, "Mia." And we had this tearful, like, hug, and they just had a baby, and we're still friends and keep in contact. And they live in the city, and we have a really special friendship. And
what a great story of how the headdress has brought you together with wonderful people.
Yeah, I've met so many amazing people because of it.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And just the beading on this is beautiful. I love how it just falls right down
it's
here on
all
her
antique
forehead.
applique pieces that are pieced together. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a fun piece.
And
there
this is
she
her.
is,
And here she is, just happy and
Happy
beautiful.
as can be.
Assuming this is after the
Yes,
ceremony.
after the ceremony. Yes. No surprise she used
wow.
to be a ballerina, so
Yeah.
no surprise there. Because
No.
I could not do that on the playa. Or
Exactly.
anywhere, for that matter.
But the headpiece, look how it brings everything together and makes everything so special.
They are at home out there. There's something about them. They just are part of the energy out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing to see them come to life. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Okay, now this is amazing. This is a kind of the genie, a little bit of a genie feel.
Yeah, definitely more Balinese for sure. I'm really lucky in that I have a beautiful, amazing artist community here in the Bay of other designers, and one of my girlfriend owns a clothing company called Temple Row, and she makes all these beautiful, jumpsuits, and this was their photo shoot, and I just, she asked if she could borrow a few pieces for the shoot, and I got these amazing, beautiful photos. So it was a great collaboration with another designer. And I'm all about, like, if we could support each other as much as possible, like whenever I buy a piece from another artist, I don't ask for a discount. If they offer one, I'm like, no, I want to pay full price. If I can afford it, I will. I know how much work goes into creating this stuff, and if I can do that in any way, I'll be happy to. Yeah.
That's great. And it does work so well together. Your piece with that beautiful outfit. And a great photographer as well.
You could see the monochromatic red going on there again.
Yeah, just
so
deep red and
I love
and
red.
The gold.
It's
yes,
such a great
so
color.
Beautiful. A very regal piece.
So this is the sister to the previous piece that you saw. So same kind of back shape, again, like I work in collections, right? And it has this gold, like little Balinese pieces of metal jewelry on them, and the pretty pink flowers, and it's neat to see that come to life again in the photograph too, right? So
Yeah.
and those are big. I found these giant antique tassels. They were like huge tassels,
Yeah.
and I was like, I must use these. You know? So.
They look great. And just that soft pink with the gold.
I love
you know,
it. Yeah, I love
it's
the color.
really
yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
and really
It's hard
gentle
because
and
sometimes the
precious.
photographs you don't see all the detail. Like, so I notice whenever I'll send people pictures. Okay, your piece is coming, and sometimes I won't even send them a picture. I'm just like, here's your piece, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't really do custom work. The way I do it is people will call me and say, I'll say, okay, look at my site, tell me what you like, what you don't like, what size do you like, you know. And I have 3 different sizes. I call them the grocery getters. These are your grocery getters,
Yeah.
right? These are your everyday. And then you have the crowd splitters, which when you wear it, the crowd just splits, right?
That's great.
And then I get a little idea of kind of what they're looking for, and then I say, okay, you have no say at this point. It's up to me. And everyone's trusted me, and every single time it's just tears, and you know, like I said, they kind of channel through me. There's some kind of energy I just feel, and I've been really lucky. Everybody has loved their pieces so far. So.
That's awesome.
And if they don't love them, I'll keep it.
Right, exactly. You're like, I'm fine. I got it.
I kind of wanted it anyways.
Oh, that is so lovely. Oh, it's so great hearing from artists that are passionate about their work. It's so nice. Oh, this is a gorgeous piece. And again,
It's the blue again,
It's the blue one. Oh, that you brought for us.
So
wow.
this is actually another piece, very similar though, but this was the original one. Yeah.
Okay, so this one came first.
Yeah, so she was the original. The one in the photograph there is the original blue piece that I did. It's hard to see it in the photograph, but in the center, there is a piece of laser cut wood that is covered in blue Swarovski crystals.
Oh, wow.
And then there's a blue light behind it. So at night it just like glows blue. But again, I got to work with a great, this is a photographer that did the last few photos. Her name's Ashley Wacker, local here too. And the model is Belle Sophie, and she's just such a gift. Like, I mean, I was like, you just wake up looking like that.
Yeah,
and she's
just, like just amazing.
And it
beautiful.
Just, they brought my piece together here, my art alive. And this is the local, it's under the tea garden in the Japanese tea gardens that we have over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, all hand cut blue fabric, and then I put wire behind them so it kind of fans out. And that piece is actually pretty good size. Yeah.
Oh man, it is just gorgeous. It is just absolutely gorgeous. And what a great photo as well. And like you said, your pieces of art turned into a whole nother piece of art.
Yeah, it's been wonderful to be connected with the local art community. So, yeah. So this one is a little more risque, but this is actually a photo that was posted on Instagram, and I'm terrible. I'm drawing a blank. It's a performance company out of LA though, and they are the ones that do these full immersive, experience parties, and these women will walk around the event and wear these beautiful headpieces, and this is one of the pieces that I did. This is when I first started doing the full monochromatic, intentionally. Before I would be a main color with other, pop color, and then it started with that blue piece and then this red piece, and they would just be full monochromatic, and I really just loved
it's very powerful.
The saturation of color. Yeah. So again,
green, monochromatic green. What?
Ironically,
from sapphire to emerald.
Right? I love the colors. This is my jade goddess, and she's a big lotus flower in the middle, and it's covered in antique jewels and crystals, and then there's a smaller, you can kind of see it, there's a smaller green lotus also nestled right in front of it. So it's 2 lotus flowers in the middle. And ironically, like, green was the hardest to move. Like, it sat for a while. Like, I think people are a little intimidated by it's just such a strong color. They're just like, but when the person that found it, because this one, very rarely do I make a piece and just make it. Usually it's because someone's ordering it or whatever. I don't have, as you mentioned, the bandwidth to just keep making pieces. I don't have a lot of free time to do it, so I pick the projects. So I made this piece though, and it was sitting there for a bit, and but when the person finds it, she was like, that's my piece, I must have it. So this is with a friend in Pennsylvania now. We went to Pittsburgh, so
That thing is
yeah.
so cool.
I love this piece, yeah. And it has green lights too, so I even went full green, you know, with the lights
you
and
did.
everything.
You just went there. And it is neat, like
Yeah.
seeing the blue piece and then the green piece right after.
Yeah, and same
You kind of want to see this in
photographer.
every color.
Yeah, right. So, which I did.
Which there you go. I totally did it.
Yep.
And I came back and
Yep, and there it is.
yeah.
So.
Is that red or hot pink?
It's a really, really vibrant red.
Yeah.
I love how it fans out almost like flames, though, you know? And I just love the red beads with it, too. And yeah, it's actually, it's the same series, yeah, so full color. And you can't see it all, but she's wearing the black fringe piece, you know,
wow.
full length, yeah. So.
What a gorgeous piece. And again, you've got the wood cut in the middle with rhinestones.
I found
beads
all the
underneath.
things red, right?
Yeah, I know. It's amazing how you source all this. Okay, whoa!
Yeah.
This is one of the crowd splitters, right?
Same performance company. They bought a couple pieces from me at once, and they sent these photos, and I was just blown away with the creativity. The centerpiece around the eyes is not my piece, and they've actually added it to it. But that's what I love is when you see people kind of, you know, they turn it into their own vision, right? This one does have fringe to the floor, and it has, you can barely see it there in the center of the lotus flower. It's a tiny little antique Buddha perched up in the middle there.
Wow, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
You can see it.
So it is, this piece is also hand carved out of foam. And then the scrolls are hand done with like hot glue, basically hand painted with hot glue and puffy paint. Believe it or not. And then I went over and antique painted it. And so it's nice because my schooling, because I actually went to traditional art school.
Yeah.
You know, I learned to paint and sew and all that, but it's nice to be able to take the painting techniques and combine them too sometimes.
Yeah.
So this piece was, I actually do want to make this piece again, but it's a commitment.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting ready to like, okay, when do I want to do it? But for the size, it's about to here when you're wearing it. And it weighs maybe 2 pounds. It's very light. It doesn't weigh much at all. Yeah, it's
cool.
balanced and comfortable, you know. So
You're the
you could
craft
get the
world's
groceries in
envy.
it.
This is such a higher level of
Yeah.
crafting than I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's supposed to symbolize, basically my vision was, it's a lotus flower, but my vision was if you can picture an elk in the snow with flowers falling on their horns, that's what I pictured when
that's so nice.
So all the flowers light up. There's lights in all those little flowers too.
Wow.
So that's what I was picturing when I created this piece, and it kind of turned into this
Oh,
lotus
I
flower.
really wish we could see some of these at night in
Yeah, I know.
person.
I know. I might have to send you some night photos.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and here you are.
Yeah, this was
A
last
beautiful
year.
piece on your head. Oh, just
Yeah,
last year at
last
Burning
year.
Man. Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's a very special place to me. It was hard that it was canceled because it is where I come back and I'm just ready to create, and it's just so fun to go out there and see how creative people are. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'll see some guy just rocking some crazy fringe thing, and I'm like, I need to make something like that, you know. But this is one of my smaller pieces, and I'm wearing this antique lace piece that I found at the antique fair somewhere. And my husband took these photos, and I realized he's actually a really great photographer.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good photographer.
The angles he did and stuff, I was like, you're hired. We need to do this again.
That's awesome.
But again, not to take away from it, there is something that happens with the lighting out there. There's a lot of people that go out there and take photos on the playa, like in the off season. Something about the lighting is just magical out there. You kind of can't go wrong with that sky and that backdrop.
And this one, you have these beautiful flowers on the side and up through the middle.
And it's all red and pink, as you can see.
Yeah.
And I'm turned on an angle kind of, but the back is fanned with these like glitter They're like silver glitter. And those are Christmas ornaments too.
Wow, they're so
They're
pretty.
like these leaf things, and I fanned them out. They're super glittery.
Yeah, the way you can see things that need to come together is really terrific.
It's just these layers and layers, and I kind of, again, it's the silhouette, right? Like how do you want that to, and it's got red lights all through it, and you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that
Beautiful.
piece.
Oh, this is very different style from what you normally do.
Yeah, it is actually. So I was really blessed, and you can see her name there. Alliance Josie is the photographer. She's a local photographer here. And I got to collaborate with this team. They approached me as well through another friend who's a local singer. So the art community just supporting each other. I've been so blessed that these people have come to me and said, I love your work, I want to work with it. It helps that it's very visual too, you know. And she had a very specific vision. I actually borrowed this piece back from someone who bought it.
Yeah.
I was like, can I use it in this, you know? And so this was the photo. They sent me several photos, but this is one of them that came back, and just absolutely beautiful.
Oh, the photo is amazing. But your
blown
piece
away.
is full of color, different colors.
Yeah.
This time.
I know. That's a good
Right?
point.
You
Yeah.
went with orange and purple and
It was
and
an off
pink
day.
and-
No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
and I mean, but it worked great.
Yeah, I did do a short series of these where they were kind of like, again, grocery getter pieces, very simple. I wanted to make, because not everybody, truth is not everybody wants, like some people say that I don't want a piece that big, and I'm like, that's not big, that's small, you know, but they want something a little more, you know, just modest, I guess,
Yeah.
you know, so ironically, they will always come back though, okay, I'm ready for the big one.
Right,
now,
you have
you
to
know?
like.
So, yeah, I'm ready now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
But I did do a few that were, you know, colorful like this, but not too many. I went right back to the monochromatic. I still love it
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
And what's in the middle there? Is that a skull?
No, it's just like a little antique piece of jewelry with a lot of beading on it.
Okay, it's
covered
like
in
rhinestones
beads.
with
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Yep. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, really cool. And what a beautiful picture.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is
she's-
super fun. Oh wow.
Yeah. So this is my COVID creation. Like.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so this is the one that broke the ice. Like, I had not created all of COVID. Like, basically what happened was we shut down, and as you mentioned, I have a corporate job as well, and I was worried about just everything. I got stressed, and I just felt the weight of everything kind of being shut down and being disconnected from my community and being disconnected from my girl tribe, and I just didn't know what to do. And when I'm not happy or I don't feel, I can't create, it's like it stops. And so I created this piece, and it was just the shape, and I literally would put her on my table, and she would stare at me, and I would stare at her for like hours, and nothing would happen. And finally I just said, I just have to start working on it. And again, it's similar to that lotus piece. I was picturing, you know, a woman and with these little, you know, poppy flowers and the snow falling on it. I wanted to have it look like the flowers just kind of fell all over it. Those are all little hand-placed paper flowers all over, covering the whole thing, and then just layers with beads and stuff. There are no lights in this piece, ironically.
Well, it is so light and bright on its own.
It doesn't
is
need
just,
it. Yeah.
It is so beautiful.
And I've had the pleasure of working with this photographer a few times, actually. He's in New York. He's actually a cosplay photographer. He does like a lot of costume and Comic-Con stuff. And he reached out to me. They're called Grace and Shine. And he reached out to me and said, can we collaborate? And so we work a deal where like I'll ship the pieces to him, and then he does his work, and then he'll ship them back to me, and we trade off. And it's always fun to see the different styles of photographers. And this was the piece that kind of broke the seal though. And then I literally, and it doesn't usually happen this way, but as soon as I created that piece, I created 3 more pieces within like a week and a half.
Oh wow.
Like I just
okay.
kept creating.
Just
I
needed
couldn't
to
stop.
get your headdress block.
Yeah, I
Found
got
your
rid of the
headdress
headdress
block.
block.
Got his headdress block.
I got out of my head.
Well,
So-
we're glad you created it because it is great, and this photo is great. The model's great. And where is that taken? Do you know?
It is in New York, and
Okay.
it's at a
So we sent over.
castle. There's a castle. It's like a public castle park
Oh,
in New
nice.
York somewhere. Yeah.
What a great picture.
And then there she
Oh,
is.
There she is, and that's one we have
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah, that's the one we
Oh,
have
great.
here.
You
So you
get
can
some
see
detail.
all the detail now in my backyard. The one spot that's not like cluttery looking back there.
Right?
but-
You're all, okay. This is where we'll do the picture.
But you
and
can
it
really
looks
see the shapes of, you know, and that's 3 pieces of jewelry kind of, you know, there's a slight space between them pieced together, and just layers. You can see how I layer the filigree and
Yeah.
the beadwork, and, you know, I hand place all those beads and the fabric there. And it's funny because the wood rings are actually like, they're made for like these floral rings, like you can make wreaths with them and stuff. And, you know, I just happened to find them. But yeah, this is my Shiva headpiece.
Oh,
so,
it's beautiful.
yeah. And I think that's my last one.
Oh
that I
my
said.
gosh, well that's so much fun to share all those. Oh, I
Thank
could
you.
sit here and go through those with you forever.
It was
That
fun
was
going down the
wonderful
path,
seeing
yeah.
it. Yes, it was fun
Yeah.
going down the path. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank
We
you.
also have, she was in Erica magazine. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about Erica Magazine.
Yeah, so Erica Magazine is a grassroots magazine that was started by my girlfriend. She's now in Switzerland, if I'm quoting that correctly. And there's the other editors here in San Francisco, so it's bi-coastal or global.
Yeah.
And it's a small magazine, but what I love about it is I love their message. It is about women's empowerment and celebrating beauty and just celebrating all of that. And they, for their October edition, asked me to be in the magazine. And it was the first time I got to tell my story of why I'm doing what I do. And I can share a tiny bit if you want to hear a little bit. So when I was young, there were 3 things that I was called, and it was stupid, slow, and ugly. And the tagline for Petals is strong, unique, and beautiful. And it took me a while as a woman to find that space and to find that confidence. And when I found that I had a vessel that I could help other women, men, whoever wants to celebrate their confidence and enjoy that and be proud of it, how can I help you? Then that's when I decided to keep doing this, and that's what we're about. So,
That's
yeah,
great.
so,
That is beautiful.
yeah.
And you got a really nice spread. It looked terrific.
It was, yeah, she gave me 8 pages.
We're
I
all
was like,
excited
"Whoa."
to check out that magazine, check out
Yeah.
something new. Thank you for introducing us. And then one of our local publications, was it, I hear SF Gate?
Yeah.
You
so
recently did an interview
I don't know
with?
what's going on, but I'm getting a little bit of Petals is kind of getting noticed lately. But I'm really close friends with one of the owners of It's now Looks Costumes on Hate, which, as we all know, is a staple to our community. And so SF Gate interviewed them, and then they recommended me, and they were asked to. They're doing an article in their culture section about how important costuming is to San Francisco's culture. And as we all know, it is a huge part of our culture. We take our costumes seriously here, you know.
Absolutely.
So it was nice to be able to share that, kind of just give my take on it too, as someone who's actually fairly new to that culture, in a way, and celebrating it. So.
Well, I think that's great that you're getting press and everyone gets to see what you're doing, because what you have to share is so incredible. And I think we're all so excited you came to share with us. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, this is Mia Padua. You can see her stuff at?
It's www.petalsinthesky.com.
And thank you again for coming down to 111 Minna Studios for Thoughts on Art.